Welcome to day 8 of your AZ-900 Fast Track. All right, let's talk security. It's a massive topic on the exam, but don't even worry, we're going to cut right through all the noise. Today, you're going to master the 3 core security models that are really the entire backbone of Azure's security philosophy. Nail these concepts and you are in fantastic shape for passing.
So, what are we tackling? In the next few minutes, we are going deep on Zero Trust, Defense in Depth, and Microsoft Defender for Cloud. I want you to think of these as the mind, the body, and the soul of Azure security. Seriously, you're going to see questions on all 3, so let's get these locked in. Here's our game plan. We'll start with the why, the Zero Trust model, then the how, the Defense in Depth strategy, and after that, the what, the actual tool, Defender for Cloud. Then we'll wrap it all up with a quick fire review to make sure it all sticks.
All right, first up, let's talk about the big one, the Zero Trust model. And I need you to understand, this isn't just some feature. It is a fundamental shift in how we think about security, and Microsoft is all in on this. I mean, think about it. The old way, the whole castle and moat idea where if you were inside the network, you were safe. That's just completely gone. It's obsolete. People are working from coffee shops, from home, on their phones. The idea of a secure inside of a network has basically evaporated.
Okay, exam alert. Listen up, because you will almost certainly get a question on this. The old way was trust but verify. The new way, Zero Trust, is never trust, always verify. That's the whole game. It's a simple phrase, but it changes everything.
So, what does that really mean? Well, picture a top secret facility. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or an intern. To get into any room, you have to use your key card and maybe a fingerprint scan. Every single time. Just because you're inside the building doesn't mean you can go wherever you want. That's Zero Trust.
So how does it actually work? It's all about 3 core principles, and you've got to memorize these for the exam. First, verify explicitly. Always authenticate and authorized based on every data point you have. Second, use least privilege access. This means you only give people the absolute bare minimum access they need to do their job, and only for the time they need it. And third, and this one is huge, assume breach. You design your entire system with the assumption that the bad guys are already inside.
Okay, so if Zero Trust is the philosophy, the mindset, how do we actually put it into practice? Well, that leads us right into our next big concept, Defense in Depth. This is the strategic blueprint for building that fortress. And honestly, the best analogy for this is an onion. You're not just building one giant thick wall. No way. You are building multiple layers of security. So if an attacker gets past one, they're immediately slammed with another, and another, and another. Now here is a critical point for the exam. The goal here isn't to be completely unbreakable. It's to slow attackers down, to make their lives difficult. If one of your layers fails, it's not game over, because you've got another one right behind it. It's all about redundancy. So what do these layers look like? Well, we start at the very bottom, physical security. We're talking fences, guards, and biometric scanners at the actual Microsoft data centers. It all has to start with protecting the physical hardware. Okay, next layer up, identity and access. We've secured the building. Now we need to secure the digital keys. This is all about controlling who can get in, using things like multi-factor authentication to make absolutely sure you are who you say you are. Now we start building our digital moat. The perimeter layer is your first line of defense against attacks coming in from the wild west of the internet. Think of services like Azure Firewall or DDoS protection that just sit there and absorb huge attacks so they never even get close to your applications. So let's say an attacker somehow slips through. We can't just let them run free inside, right? This is where the network layer comes in. We use things like network security groups to act like internal traffic cops, strictly controlling which resources can talk to each other. This stops an attacker from moving around freely once they're inside. Moving deeper, we get to the compute layer. This is all about securing the actual virtual machines and other services, making sure they're patched, making sure they're configured correctly, and making sure they're hardened against known attacks. And what's running on those machines? Our applications. This layer is all about making sure the code itself is secure. Making sure developers aren't leaving back doors open, and that secrets like passwords and API keys are stored safely, not just typed into the code. And finally, we get to the very heart of the onion, the data. This is the crown jewels. This is what the attackers are after. Here, we use encryption and super tight access controls to protect the data itself. Even if an attacker gets all the way here, we want to make sure the data they steal is completely useless to them.
Okay, so we have our mindset, zero trust. We have our strategy, defense in depth. But you're probably asking, how in the world do I manage all of this? And that brings us to the final piece of our puzzle, the tool that pulls it all together, Microsoft Defender for Cloud.
I want you to think of this as your security cockpit, your central command center. It gives you that famous single pane of glass that pulls in all the security alerts and recommendations from all over the place into one manageable dashboard.
And here's its superpower. This is so important for the exam. Defender for Cloud is not just for Azure. Using a technology called Azure Arc, it can reach out and protect your servers in your own on-premises data center and even your stuff running in other clouds like AWS and Google Cloud. It gives you one unified view of everything.
Exam alert. Write this down, burn it into your brain. Defender for Cloud has 3 core functions you have to know. 1, it helps you assess your current security posture. 2, it helps you secure your resources by giving you actionable recommendations. And 3, it helps you defend against active attacks by detecting and responding to threats. Assess, secure, and defend. Got it?
All right, let's do this. Time for a rapid-fire review to lock in the absolute key takeaways you need for the AZ-900 exam. Here we go. 4 things to remember. Zero trust. That's the mindset. Never trust, always verify. Defense in depth. That's the strategy. Layered security. One breach is not game over. Defender for Cloud. That's the tool. Its job is to assess, secure, and defend. And finally, the scope. It's not just Azure. It's hybrid and multi-cloud. You know these 4 points, you're going to do great on the security questions.
So there you have it. You've got the foundational knowledge you need not just to pass this exam, but to actually start thinking like a cloud security pro. This is a huge step. Fantastic work today, and I will see you for our final day, day 9.